Speaking of title belts, who in the chat thought that Moose was retiring the X Division title? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. So I know some of you, at least one of you, thought that Moose was retiring the X Division Championship because they saw a spoiler that said Moose threw down the belt. And I was like, it looks like he's going to get a custom belt. And then everybody's like, no, he's retiring the X Division. The X Division is going away, TNA, LOL. Some of you guys are ridiculous. He's getting a custom belt. I can say that I have seen the title belt. It is a beautiful belt. It's got an orange strap. It still says X Division on it. It's got the system engraved on the side. It looks beautiful. I think Moose is going to debut it at Genesis. That's all that's happening. In fact, it might even debut it earlier, but I think people are kind of having fun with the fact that everybody was so wrong about that. But I think Moose said something about it tonight, which was pretty funny, actually. Not that I want to get like Moose's back, but it's like he's like, you guys got to stop reading your news on Twitter, which is pretty funny. I actually saw like pictures of the belt. It looks nice, and it's not that out of the ordinary for a company to do a custom belt for one of their champions, especially like a heel. But it's pretty wild. So I thought that was funny. I wanted. Oh, and look, yes, King of the North. I read the spoilers and reached out for clarity. So yeah. Let's see. We got a couple more questions, and then I got to roll out. Looks like JD is not going to be able to call in, so this was just a solo show for this week, and then we'll be back on Sunday. We'll release the show early on Sunday for everybody on Patreon, and then shortly after we'll get it out free to everybody on the Voices of Wrestling Network. After we record Sunday night, Everything Pro Wrestling. Mike, what free agents would you add to each TNA division? I think that's a great question. I think I would like to see Trevor Lee come back and work in the X Division. He's not as good as Speedball, but he's still pretty good. He's got a name from WWE, and he's a former TNA X Division champion. He has now been picked up by AEW at this point, and who knows if he will be. He's working some MLW stuff. I saw some stuff that he did with Deadlock Pro, and he looked really good. I think he's a really talented kid. He's got history in the company. The Hardys are there. They're like big brothers to him. So I would like to see him come back to the X Division. I think that's like home for him. Although he clearly wants to just be in WWE. But now I thought they were going to bring him in sooner. But what everybody needs to know about, like, how I mentioned that TNA is like a football team with a salary cap. They didn't have any room for him at the time to bring in new talent. So now that all these people are falling off the books, I think we could see a guy like him. Heavyweight division. I see people saying Baron Corbin. I'm not a fan of his. I don't think he's particularly very good. I could see them liking him because he's a football player, and you can see how they treat Moose and AJ Francis because they got the NFL background. I could see them being kind of smitten with him, to be honest with you, despite the fact that it's just like he played so many different characters in WWE, so he's obviously very versatile, but I don't think any character I ever played was particularly very good. And I'm not just a fan of his ring work, to be quite honest. That doesn't mean he can't have a good match. I'm sure he could, but I just didn't really care for what he did in WWE. Now, if he changed his character and he had some compelling character and he was shooting vignettes on his own and was trying to overhaul everything, okay, I might be interested. But if he's just going to come in as his regular name, but Tom Pestock, like nobody wants to, like if you have a guy named Tom Pestock at the top of the card, does that make you curious about what that wrestler is? No, I don't think so. So people say Baron Corbin, I'd rather not. Mustafa Ali, I think, bring back. In fact, I think he's probably already like locked in. Donovan Dijak, I'd kick the tires on, to be honest with you. I think he's clearly a very good wrestler. He just not good at tweeting. He says some stupid stuff, but like if you say stupid stuff that gets you out of that turns people off in major networks, I think you're like perfect for TNA. So because a lot of their talent, like Moose especially, says stupid stuff. So yeah, I would definitely bring him in. There's some indie talents out there that I really like. Like I like Kevin Blackwood. I think he's pretty good. Titus Alexander, he's been working some Noah stuff, and I know he's over on West Coast Pro. I think he's really good. I'd like to see those guys be brought in. Manders, and he's got a tag team partner in Deadlock Pro Wrestling. His name escapes me, but he's like a big cowboy dude. I'm a fan of large cowboy wrestlers. Shout out Black Bart. Shout out. Oh, I was wearing my Joe Doring t-shirt tonight, but my son puked on it. So sorry. Shout out Joe Doring. But so those guys, and then as far as women wrestlers, man, WWE kind of like, and AEW kind of signed up everybody, and the WWE ID program kind of took everybody away. But my answer is now and always will be probably Megan Bain. Even if you have to bring in Joey Janela, and I would hate to see Joey Janela, like I don't want to cover his work. He's annoying. But if it gets his Megan Bain, I'm like, okay, go ahead. So I would like that. Let's see. Miyu Yamashita is really good, and she's been in the company a couple of times, and I wish that she would. Like, I know she's like locked in. Oh, Jada Stone. Yes, sir. Jada Stone. She's worked TVs before. I think she looks really good. In fact, it wouldn't shock me if she was not locked in, like on one of those per appearance deals. So those are some of the talents. Tag teams. I like Violence is Forever. I think it's a good tag team. There's another tag team out there. They're kind of doing Outrunners gimmicks. If you alter the gimmick a little bit, but Midnight Heat on the West Coast looks pretty good. So those are some of the people. Women. I'm not a fan of India Hartwell, but who is the other one that blew up both her knees? I think they should probably bring her in, the one with no knees. Like she's pretty famous. I just can't remember. Tegan Knox. I think they should bring in Tegan Knox. She's like really good, and I think that's like a feel good story if she can kind of come back from all her injuries and then and do all that. So that would be good. All right, Voices of Wrestling fans, I do apologize that this was a heavily TNA show, but I had TNA people in the chat, and I made the mistake of putting a TNA topic in the description. So, of course, that's what they wanted to talk about. Okay. I'm going to save the good and bad of AEW for Sunday. So I do apologize for that. I'll take that off of the title. So we were going to talk about the good and bad because JD had some specific things that he wanted to say, and I was going to react to what he had to say. And we'll talk about that on Sunday. What I do have to say is Ricochet is a geek. I'm at the point now where I never want to see Ricochet utter another single word ever again. I don't want to hear his laugh. I don't want to look at his stupid suits. I don't want him to see a backstage interview, in the ring interview. I never want to hear this man speak again. I want him to put a mask on because I just hate his face now. I want Prince Puma back. That's what we need. Prince Puma. Prince Puma ruled, right? Ricochet that never talks rules. AEW Ricochet is the worst Ricochet I've ever seen. Really good wrestler, though. King of the North. How many stars for Ospreay versus Darby? I don't give higher than 5. 5. That was easy 5.